Welcome to Gurgle, a bite-sized podcast from the creators of Navseam. Looking to whet your appetite for the classics? Gurgle will tickle your taste buds and leave you wanting more. And now, from the vomitorium, here are your hosts, Dr. David Noe and Dr. Jeff Winkle.
All right, Jeff, it's time to gurgle.
Yes, it is.
So how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, but do we have time for these?
Yeah, we do, real quick.
Pleasantries, okay.
I'm feeling great.
Okay, good.
And you want to know what I've been doing?
Yeah, I do.
Well, just the other day, I went to a playground with some family members.
Okay.
We enjoyed the merry-go-round. Mm-hmm. We enjoyed the swings.
Yeah.
And right in the middle of the playground was a long, sloped piece of plastic or steel. I don't know. You climb up a little bit of ladder.
Yeah.
And then you park your behind and you go down rapidly.
I've seen these things.
Right,
yeah.
it's a slide,
yeah.
right? And there was one slide right there in the middle of the playground, and kids were enjoying it as this narrative progresses.
Yeah.
But then suddenly there was another one.
What? What is this? What are you talking about? What's going on?
Why should there be another one?
Why is there another one? Yeah. Where is this going?
It's because there are two slides to every story.
Oh my goodness. At least thank you for keeping it short.
I kept it short. Come on. Not bad.
Not bad.
All right.
I liked it. Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about a very grim topic.
Yes.
And that is mass crucifixion.
Right.
So that's a jarring transition, isn't it?
Very jarring.
Okay.
Right. So, but how did you come across this topic, Dave?
So I was finishing up my reading of this book I've mentioned on a few shows, namely The Path of Christianity, The First 1,000 Years by one John Anthony McGuckin, 2017, published by IVP Academic. And in the chapter on Christianity and slavery, or the church and slavery in an age of oppression, we came upon this story of Lucius Secundus Pedanius. This is a man who was murdered, and then his entire household of slaves, some 400, were crucified.
Unbelievable.
According to an ancient law. So I'd like to read from McGuckin, page 1058. Roman imperial society was such a vast war machine that there never was a chance of slave stock being exhausted. Slaves in the Roman system bred slaves. If ever numbers threatened to drop, there were more than enough wars to supply new populations. From a root in limited regional tribal wars, however, as are imagined in all the relevant Old Testament literature, and that applied to most ancient societies, slavery in the time of the late Roman Empire had become something entirely different. It had been reinvented on a hitherto unimaginably massive scale. The Roman Empire and the extensive civilizations that grew in and out of it could not have existed on any other economic basis. Accordingly, any political, philosophical, or religious system, McGuckin's thinking of Christianity, right, in his context, that advocated a wholesale abolition of slavery would be regarded as anarchistic.
Yeah. Wow.
Isn't that something?
That is something.
And the guy's a great writer, which is really why I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So then we move on to page 1067 and footnote number 13, which sets up this brief gurgle. In AD 61, Pedanius Secundus, the prefect of Rome, was murdered by one of his slaves. The Senate held a debate as to whether, in this case, according to tradition, all the household slaves of an assassinated master should be executed. The problem was acute, since Pedanius held 400 of them, the vast majority of whom were clearly innocent of all crime. The lawyer Gaius Cassius went on record then to say, "You cannot restrain this scum except by terror."
Wow. My goodness.
So that sets up a brief look here from Tacitus at this mass crucifixion.
All right, Dave. So why don't you read some Latin from Tacitus here, and then I'll provide the translation.
Okay. So this is the Annales, book 14, chapter 42. Haud multo post praefectum urbis Pedanium Secundum servus ipsius interfecit, seu negata libertate, cui pretium pepigerat, sive amordere exolati incensus, et dominum aemulum non tolerans.
Very nicely done.
Thank you.
And the translation goes thusly. Soon afterwards, the city prefect, Pedanius Secundus, was murdered by one of his own slaves. The motive was either that he had been refused his freedom after a price had been agreed upon, or that he was infatuated with a male lover and could not endure his master being his rival. Because an ancient custom required that the entire household of slaves living under the same roof must be led out to execution, the populace gathered in a tumultuous crowd to protect so many innocent lives, and the rioting reached the point of besieging the Senate House. Even within the Senate, there was a faction that favored leniency, though the majority voted that no changes to the law should be permitted.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So several really fascinating elements to this. Pedanius, I think I mispronounced him earlier as Pedanius, but Pedanius Secundus, murdered by one of his own slaves. Motives are mixed as to what had driven this, right? But then you have this mos maiorum, this ancient custom, the entire household.
Right.
Doesn't this seem, it is, right, entirely indiscriminate?
It really does. I mean, it reminds me of our recent discussion around Roman education from the Maru text.
Oh, yeah.
And talking about one of the things that distinguishes it from the Greek world was that deep sense of duty,
correct,
and to ancestry and custom, and you see that kind of rearing its head here. Yeah, but yes, the execution, not just the execution, but the torture, right? The crucifixion.
Oh yeah, it's not just killing.
No. It's brutality.
That's right.
At its highest. Here coming, slamming into the ancient customs.
I suppose it is in the name of what, deterrence. There's a famous passage in Lucan's Pharsalia de Bello Civili on the Civil War, his poem, in which Caesar, right, has an actual decimation of his troops. 1 in every 10 men is randomly selected as a way to put down a rebellion.
Right.
Now, it's very effective, I suppose, because if you hear anyone, right, grumbling about the possibility of, well, let's overthrow the general because this war is going nowhere, you're going to put that person down, because if the general hears about it, you could be randomly selected to have your head lopped off.
Exactly.
But it seems just so cruel, actually. Yeah. And the other interesting part about the translation that you read is that the populace gathered in a tumultuous crowd, says the translator, church, to protect so many innocent lives. Now, how does that sit with your knowledge of Roman society generally? So these are citizens within the city of Rome, and they say, no, we're not going to follow the ancient Roman law.
Yeah.
You're not going to allow the Senate to impose this.
Right. I mean, it's a wonderful kind of peek behind the curtain. It's rare where you get these instances where you see things on the ground level from the ordinary people.
Right.
And it's so very easy to kind of think about ancient Rome through kind of the black and white lens of just this war machine that just kind of steamrolled everything in its path. And here you have these kind of people on the ground in what seems to be kind of a spontaneous protest.
Yes.
No, we don't care what the custom is. This is beyond the pale.
Yeah, this is too cruel. So Tacitus says the rioting reached the point of besieging the Senate House. Yeah. So they're going to the Senate and they're storming it, right?
Yes.
To try to, I guess, prevent this from happening.
Now, just a little bit of kind of historical context. This is AD 61.
Right.
Nero is the emperor.
From 54 to 68.
Right.
So
this is pre-fire.
Yes, but it is also after what's called the quinquennium, right? The first 5 years where he was mostly guided by Seneca and Burrus.
Right.
So the first 5 years, Nero is a pretty decent chap.
Yes.
To use the kind of laddish terms that Peter Green might use.
Yes.
Any of you listened to Gurgle number 8.
Yes.
Nevertheless, he's about to the point where he's going to go crazy.
Yes, exactly.
If we can trust Suetonius and Tacitus.
Exactly, and also just as another piece of color, this is also very close to the time that both Peter and Paul are in Rome.
Yep. According to tradition, that's where they are about to show up. So the majority voted, says Tacitus, that no changes to the law should be permitted, even though there was a minority within the Senate that favored leniency. In some sense, this is like hitting a fly, right, with something. What's the metaphor I want here?
Well, hitting a fly with a mallet, or
I guess.
A hand grenade.
Right. Yeah. There you go, with a hand grenade. Of these 400, couldn't they have done a little bit of investigative work,
right,
and found out who really is guilty, or maybe you're complicit if you heard about it but didn't reveal the murderous plot, but really all 400 of them?
Right. I get, maybe if this kind of case had ever come up before, maybe it was a household and they had 3 slaves.
Correct.
We'll execute the other 2. No big deal. Right. But now you're dealing with almost a legion.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like to consider myself an arch-conservative, as you probably know, right? In the line of Cicero, John Locke, Madison. The purpose of the state is to protect private property.
Yeah.
You say status, I say quo, status quo, right?
Yeah.
I can get excited about that. But here, my conservatism is kind of reaching a limit, right? Mm-hmm. Just because the law is there doesn't mean it ought to be upheld when it's so obviously cruel.
Yeah.
So what happens in chapter 43? How does Gaius Cassius Longinus, how does he respond to this?
Yeah, let me read some more of the translation here. Among those who argued against mercy was Gaius Cassius, who spoke to the following effect. Quote, "Conscript fathers, I have often been present in this house when new decrees were demanded that went against the institutions and laws of our ancestors. On those occasions, I remained silent, not because I doubted that the provisions made in the past were better and more correct in every matter, and that that changes were for the worse, but because I did not want to appear to overvalue my own profession, the ancient law, by inflating its importance through constant defense. Nor did I wish to destroy whatever influence I possess by raising frequent objections. I preferred to save it for a time when the state might genuinely stand in need of counsel. That time has come today. A man of consular rank has been murdered in his own home by a treacherous slave, an act which none prevented and none exposed, even though the Senate's decree, which threatens the entire household with execution, is still active. Vote for impunity by all means, but then, who will be protected by his rank when even the prefecture of the city has brought no safety? Who will be kept safe by a multitude of slaves when 400 could not protect Pedanius Secundus?" So he's making the argument. I think I don't buy his argument.
No.
But he's saying that
It's got some persuasive elements.
He seems to assume that the other slaves knew what was up.
Correct.
Right, and that's perhaps, I don't know, unprovable. He certainly doesn't prove it here.
Right.
And so because they didn't step in, because they couldn't protect Secundus, well, you failed in your job.
They're complicit.
Out you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love the way that Tacitus sets this up. The underlying Latin is, typical Tacitus, difficult but brilliant and brittle, you might say. There's a kind of brittleness to his style.
Yeah.
So first, Longinus talks about, I'm just as conservative as anyone else, right? I remained silent. I doubted, not because I doubted the provisions made in the past were better and more correct in every respect, in every matter, but because I didn't want to talk too much and lower my capital, my cred.
Yeah.
But then, as you said, he goes on to say, a man of consular rank has been murdered in his own home, and nobody did anything to stop it.
Right.
Therefore, they're all complicit. Then he appeals to self-interest at the end. None of you are safe, right? Even if you have a whole multitude of slaves, 400 could not keep Pedanius Secundus safe.
Right.
So you're at risk.
Yes.
And maybe that's what swayed the other senators.
I guess so.
The majority.
I guess so.
Just an appeal to base self-interest.
Right. And of course, clearly, we're dealing in a world where the Romans didn't see a kind of a common humanity between those of consular rank and slaves.
That's right.
This is property.
The anonymous public here, though, that riots and besieges the Senate House, as much as I hate a riot, they seem to be the heroes.
Exactly.
Because they recognize some human dignity.
Exactly.
In the 400.
Their protest is raising the issue of the humanity of these slaves,
yes.
right?
So how about the defense, right? This would be, the argument for deterrence.
Yes.
In chapter 44. Can you read that part too?
Yeah, so Cassius here, he goes on. This continues his speech. Our ancestors always mistrusted the disposition of slaves, even when they were born on our own estates or in our homes, and had imbibed an affection for their masters from their infancy. But now that we include entire nations within our households, so this, like McGuckin was saying,
right,
is the slave system in the first century was just absolutely massive.
It's the slave industrial complex.
Yes, exactly.
As people might say, big slava. I suppose I shouldn't. I don't mean to belittle its horrors.
Right.
I'm just trying to contextualize it so we can understand its extent.
Right. So he's saying, but so now that we include entire nations within our households, peoples who practice foreign religions or no religion at all, it is impossible to control such a rabble except through terror.
Yeah. So this fella, Cassius, this is a low point in Roman oratory.
It is.
And I believe that Tacitus recognizes that.
Yes.
And that's why he includes it.
Exactly.
In colors and tones that are really unsympathetic.
Right.
Can you finish that part?
Right. We haven't talked a lot about Tacitus. We
had Brahm on.
We had Brahm on. But Tacitus was, he did not see Rome through a kind of a rose-colored
Absolutely
lens,
not.
Right?
He says of their invasion of Britain, right, they make a wilderness and call it peace.
Yes, exactly. Right. So let me finish the speech here. Cassius says, yes, some innocent people will perish. But when a defeated army undergoes decimation, where men are chosen by lot to be beaten to death, the brave must take their chances with the rest. Every exemplary punishment carries some element of injustice to individuals, but the hardship to the few is outweighed by the benefit to the whole community. It's kind of the idea
there's a mix there.
To make an omelet, you got to break a few eggs.
Yeah, Lenin, right? You're quoting V.I. Lenin.
Yes.
Is he kind of always, just on your lips, on your fingertips there?
What are you trying to say?
I don't know. You're reading Dostoevsky. You're not heading into Leninism, I hope.
Right. No, but that when I read that passage, that's exactly what it reminds me of.
Well, he's also switching. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. This idea that the greater good.
Right.
It might demand some things that are awful and innocent people are going to have to die.
That's right.
Just the way it is.
But he's playing fast and loose with terms. He says, as his example, when a defeated army undergoes decimation, right? Mm-hmm. So when we defeat the Parthians, something the Romans were never fully capable of doing.
Yeah.
Men are chosen by lot to be beaten to death, right? 1 in 10. The brave must take their chances with the rest.
Yeah.
Okay. So he says it's just a result of war. He's playing fast and loose with terms, though, because these are 400 household slaves.
Yes.
They're not
soldiers on the battlefield.
No,
right.
It's at least somewhat different.
Yeah.
Then he says every exemplary punishment carries some element of injustice to individuals. He's right about that, but I would say it begs the question, ought there to be exemplary punishments, and specifically should there in this instance, right, for the death of this Pedanius Secundus?
Right. It's the opposite side of the coin of, say, like the ideal of like an American jury trial,
right?
Where you have to be convicted, you have to have a unanimous vote, right? And so
a capital crime,
of a capital crime. So but the idea is that it's better for that many people who have committed injustice go free, than one innocent man be wrongly convicted.
That's right.
This is the opposite of that.
Yeah. Can I digress for a minute?
Please.
Even in the midst of a gurgle? When I was talking about the jury and unanimity and capital crime,
yes.
Here's the thought that flashed through my mind.
Please.
If I got that wrong, is there someone out there to correct it? Ironically, the Corregenda have made me a little sloppy.
Really?
I don't have to get it right.
No, you
Someone
don't.
else will get it right.
There you go. Exactly.
There we go.
There we go. Good thought.
So should we finish up here with chapter 45?
Yeah.
And Tacitus's description, this is from book 14, of the execution.
Why don't you read this, Dave?
Okay. While no single senator dared to openly oppose the speech of Cassius, of course, arguing for the mass crucifixion, he was answered by a confused murmur of voices expressing pity for the age, sex, and undeniable innocence of the vast majority of the condemned.
Because we're talking men, women, and children.
That's correct.
Yes.
Infants, children, young women, they had nothing to do with the murder of their master.
Yep.
Despite this, the faction demanding execution prevailed. However, the decree could not be carried out because an immense multitude had gathered, armed with stones and torches to block the path. So the crowd rises up again. Nero then intervened, rebuking the populace via an edict and lining the entire route along which the condemned were marched to execution with detachments of soldiers. So this is reminiscent of the crucifixion of Spartacus.
That's what I was thinking of that too.
Which was, 79, 80? It was another, I don't know, almost 20 years.
All along the road.
Right.
Yeah.
Lining the road, I think, the Via Appia.
The Appia.
Miles and miles.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Cingonius Varro also proposed that the freedmen who had lived under the same roof should be deported from Italy.
Oh.
Well, that seems like a more mild measure, doesn't it?
It does.
Don't crucify them, just kick them out.
Yeah, maybe again, unnecessary, but by comparison, extremely mild.
Yes, and maybe it was kind of a tactic on his part. Maybe if I introduce this countermeasure, I can get some leniency for the rest.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. This measure, however, was vetoed by the emperor, who argued that, while the ancient law must be maintained in its severity, it should not be amplified by unnecessary cruelty.
It's a classic Nero.
So the unnecessary cruelty is sending people out of the country.
Right.
But the necessary cruelty, I suppose, is crucifying.
I guess so.
Men, women, children.
Right. My guess is that that some of those freedmen were people that he didn't like.
Could be.
Can I?
Here's a reason to remove the competition.
Exactly. Can I make an amendment to the decision?
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Jeff, that wraps it up. The Gurgle is done.
Yep.
A little bit of housekeeping. What kinds of things do we need to take care of?
Well,
here?
we would love to remind our listeners of our sponsors, of
Correct.
course. Ratio Coffee, if you use the coupon code is AN Ratio 2026.
That's right. Go to ratiocoffee.com/
ad nauseum.
Ad nauseum. Don't forget the V. What will they get off their order?
They'll get 20% off their entire order.
Yeah, I think it's $20.
$20,
Yeah.
right? And of course, don't forget to get all of your textbooks and all of your library editions at hackettpublishing.com.
That's right.
And there, if you use the coupon code AN2026, Dave, that will get them
20% off their entire order, free shipping, and
the joy of supporting this podcast.
yes, especially check out their signature editions.
Yeah.
If you want to be entered into the contest to win a free copy of 5 comedies of Plautus and Terence, send an email to dave@adnauseam.com. And Jeff, they got to put this word into the subject heading.
Yes, braggart.
Braggart,
Yep.
which is the nickname I've decided to use for you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
There's nothing unheroic about that. Right?
There is nothing unheroic. Delichelpka, you want your walls to not look like the walls of, what is it, Hampton Inn and Suites?
Yes, exactly.
Like the Winkle residence?
Yeah, man, I got to do something about that.
Yeah, get some fine oil paintings from our friend Delichelpka, DELLACHELPKA.ART. The coupon code is FINAL20, like the Europe song, and that'll get you 20% off your order.
And Dave, what about learning some Latin and Greek?
Correct. You want to be able to read some Tacitus, which is an extremely pleasant and delightful activity. Go to latinperdiem.com. Check out my Latin courses, my Greek courses. You want to sign up for Moss, you want to use the coupon code 10PLUS10+ to get 10% off. And to motivate you Latin learners, until June 15, we're offering 15% off the Unit 1 course. The coupon code is AESTAS. That's AESTAS 15. AESTAS is the Latin word for summer. There's no better way to spend your summer than studying some Latin.
Hey, thanks for listening.
Thanks.